What's up, guys? It is Original OC with you on the Original OC channel. Breaking news. Oops. Hold on a second. Breaking news in the Anthony Ferrer case. We have Exhibit A, which has been filed with the court. Anthony is begging the judge for his life, begging for forgiveness, begging for leniency. So we have the entire document. We have the entire letter that Anthony Ferrer, aka Timepiece Gentleman, wrote and submitted to the court, and we will be reading it in its entirety coming up in 5 minutes, just in 5 minutes. So hang in there, guys. We will be reading the entire Exhibit A. That's right. We've got the whole thing right here. Yep. That's just a tease. I'll blow it up big for you guys a little bit later. Let's see who we have in the chat. Already 20 people watching. Guys, hit the thumbs up. Let's get to 10 likes on the live stream. We've got Whole Milk. Begging like a dog. We're going to read this thing in excruciating detail, paragraph by paragraph, line by line, word for word. Anthony Farrer's own words, his submission to the court. Anthony pleading to the judge, guys, I didn't mean it. I'm a flawed man. Let me out. Let me out. Let me out, says Anthony Farrer. Let me out so I can do good. Let me out so I can pay back the victims. It's time for leniency, guys. It's time to forgive. If you want to join me on the panel, the link is pinned at the top of the chat. Thank you, Whole Milk, for being first. Logan Hall's Grill Stream's in the chat. Second, what's up, Logan? We've got Andy Lewis. Howdy, y'all. What's up, Andy? If you're watching the live stream right now, please type in a comment in the chat. If you're watching another live stream right now and you just have this on in the background, shame on you. You should be listening to this live stream. We're going to be going through the Anthony Farrer pleading with the court. He's begging for forgiveness, guys. We've got Doc Mick in Florida. Hello, everyone. We've got Luz's best friend, Matthias, in the chat. What's up, Matthias? And Whole Milk says, let TPG out so he can buy Matthias steak dinners. Yeah, and lobster thermidor. And Wagyu grade 5, whatever. Exactly. I got a flat tire today. Really, really pissed me off because it was completely self-inflicted. I mean, I didn't hit a pothole or anything. I didn't run over like construction equipment. I was doing this I did a U-turn. And then as I was like turning right, like from the U-turn, I fucking curbed my whole front right tire. My whole front right wheel got friggin' scraped up, and I have low profile tires on my car, so it just like boom, you're like really pissed me off. But you know what? Shit happens, man. Shit happens. I have AAA, so the AAA towed it to the tire place, and they're either going to put one new tire on it or 2 or 4 or whatever. It is what it is. It's no big deal. Life, it just happened. Nothing I could do. Well, I could have avoided running into the curb. That's something I could have done, but I didn't. But anyways, I'm without a car until tomorrow. Hopefully they order the tire, they get it delivered. I need a car. Hey, we got Raf C. Antwerp in the chat. Hello, everyone. Have a great stream, OC. Okay, well, I will have a great stream. Great Daytona, by the way. Is that a Daytona? What is that? What is that in the chat, Raf? Hey, we got Father Artifact. This stream is open to all countries, guys. Before the live stream, I said, listen, should we restrict this to just Americans? Should we just restrict this just to people in the United States? Because this is Anthony Farrer. So we're going to do a live stream about Anthony Farrer, Timepiece Gentleman. Nobody outside of the United States cares about it. And then I thought, you know what? Maybe let's open it up to Canada. So we have people from Canada joining. Father Artifact, good evening, OC. Thank you for joining. Happy Meal, stop streaming and driving. I wasn't streaming and driving. I was just doing a normal U-turn, and then I smashed into the curb. It was not fun. I was going to the post office, like a little routine thing. Whatever. Hey, Raf is upvote number 9. It's good. Let's get to 10. If we have 10, we're all good. All we need is 10. Should we open up the live stream to people in Greenland? I think that's covered by checking off America. I think I checked off that this live stream's open for people in the United States. So I think that includes Greenland. I heard something about this the other week. Greenland has now been annexed into the United States, something like that. Hey, Ali Reza is in the chat. Dubai cares too. People in Dubai. Wow. It's amazing. Canadians will soon be Americans. Listen, Canadians will be Greenlanders. Even people in Puerto Rico. We love Puerto Rico. It will soon include people transversing the Panama Canal. That's right. If you go through the Panama Canal, you'll just, spend an hour in the United States. You'll be in the Pacific Ocean, then in the United States, then the Atlantic Ocean. Let's we're going to get to this, so just wait for a few more people to join. When we get over 20 people watching, 20, maybe 25 people, I will open up Exhibit A in the Anthony Ferrer case. Anthony is begging for forgiveness. He's pleading the court for leniency. Should the court grant it? Or should they give him 6 years in prison? We have the document. We have the exclusive. We have the actual court filing that we will be reading in its entirety. If anybody watching wants to post this on Reddit and let them know that OC is streaming right now, let them know. Let the fine, high quality people on Reddit know that OC is streaming, and I've got the document. I've got it. You think I'm kidding? I'm not kidding. Here it is, right here. Boom. That's just a tease. It's a tease, guys. Boom. I'm gonna make it small so you can't read it. We'll wait for a few more people to join. Then we're going to read this in its entirety. Anthony Ferrer is begging for his life, and we will read in his own words his begging to the court. Hey, we got 10% Lolex. Dear Judge Stanton, I'm sorry. That's exactly what it's going to be. It might be, I'm actually kind of curious to see what he says. I might have read it. Get it? That's not a pun. I think I read it earlier today. I think I forgot it already. But I thought it would be good to share this with you guys. Breaking news. We have the court filing by Anthony Ferrer. He is pleading for his life. So let's do that. Let's get to 15 likes. 15 likes. We have the link to the panel pinned at the top of if anybody's familiar with the Anthony Ferrer situation, if anybody is knowledgeable about the Timepiece gentleman and or just has an opinion on it and wants to weigh in, there is the link to join the panel. Everyone's welcome. Even people who support TPG are welcome. Support, but even people who are sympathetic of TPG, feel free to jump on, give your opinions, and we'll hear you out. We will hear you out. All right. Oh shit, over 30 people now watching. Let's go through it. I'm not gonna waste time. If you want to jump on the panel and talk about it with me, feel free. But this is breaking news. This is the letter. We actually have other supporting evidence, other letters that were written to the court as well, not just from Anthony, but from friends and relatives as well. So we will be reading the letters from Anthony's friends and relatives begging Judge Stanton for leniency. Are you guys ready? Are you ready? Let me know in the chat if you're ready. Say, yes, OC, we're ready. If you're ready, or if you're ready, let's do it. Ali Reza, what's up?
Hello.
Thanks for jumping on. Anything you want to talk about before we get into this breaking news? Appendix A has been filed with the court. Anthony is begging for his life, and we will read it in its entirety.
No, I roll with it. Let me know if you want me to do some reading, whatever. I don't know how long this is. It's 9 pages?
Yeah, it's not 9 pages, but that includes letters written by his friends and family as well.
Okay.
So it's just, I think his portion is only a couple pages. I'll read the first one and you can read the second. I'll read the first paragraph and we can go back and forth. We'll do our best to broadcast voices. Here we go. Good. Guys, This is it. If you just joined the live stream, this is the original OC channel. Upvote the live stream. Let's get to 20 likes. Breaking news: Appendix A has been filed in the court case of USA versus Anthony Farrer. Anthony is begging for his life. He's pleading for leniency. He's pleading for forgiveness. We have the letter in his own words. We're going to read it now. Ready? All right, let's go. Dear Judge Staton, in recovery, I've heard there are two things that need to happen before I could expect you to see real, lasting change. I'd reach a point in my life where I could no longer keep living the way that I was and would make a decision to change. Many people call it their rock bottom. I feel like I've hit that point multiple times, yet here I am again. During this past year of incarceration, I've spent a lot of time looking back over my life and have finally come to a realization. It was never enough to just admit I had a problem and commit to making a few changes. I needed to actually believe it. I was always going through the motions and saying the things I thought people wanted to hear. Deep down, I thought I had it under control and never thought things were as bad as people said they were. When I really took the time to see the toll alcohol has taken on my life, I can appreciate just how much I underestimated it. I lost my twin brother to a motorcycle.
Pause it.
All right. Hi, Mathis. I can pause. Yes.
This can't be real. He is
This is real.
This guy is a complete jabroni.
You haven't even heard it yet.
The first two sentences, I can't even believe it. I can't believe how up his own ass this guy is. I can't believe it. Thank you.
Why can't you at least listen to the letter before you pass judgment?
Oh my God. The first two sentences are just
I don't want Mathis on my jury, that's for sure.
Give him 10 more years for this. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Give him 10 more years? Okay, guys, if you just joined us, before Mathis so rudely interrupted, this is the letter that Anthony Farrer and his friends and family have filed with the court. They're pleading for leniency. They're pleading for forgiveness. Deep down, I thought I had it under control, and I never thought things were as bad as people said they were. When I really took the time to see the toll alcohol has taken on my life, I can appreciate just how much I underestimated it. I lost my twin brother to a motorcycle wreck, my biological mother to suicide. I missed my only son's birth. The thing these three life-changing events had in common was alcohol. Ollie, any reaction so far?
So the first paragraph, unfortunately I'm with Mathis. This doesn't, have to read the rest of it. But the last few lines, the twin brother biological mother suicide, these have been featured in videos before. I think that if he has a sponsor that also writes a letter, there's other things. It's been a year. I don't know who advised him to write the letter, but it's hard when you've heard him talk like this on multiple videos. Asking for the public's forgiveness.
You don't believe him. He doesn't have credibility in your eyes. He's not being sincere.
It's hard to take him seriously, but it's also, none of us are there. None of us, we don't know if he's in regular 12-step meetings. I'm sure they're available to him, things like that. Don't sponsor things. Don't know any of those things.
He hasn't said anything like that. He's just pointing to alcohol as the root of these issues so far.
Yeah.
Do you want to take the next paragraph?
Sure. I'll take the next two. It looks like they're about the same length. So,
yes, sounds good.
I started this letter talking about recovery because that is the root of all my problems. I'm an alcoholic. I always have been. Today, I believe I always will be. Don't blame my problems on the alcohol. Blame them on me never taking my recovery seriously. The simple fact is that I don't get in trouble when I'm sober. I'm not lying to myself or anyone else anymore. I'm ready to make a change and commit to a lifelong journey of recovery. I used to believe that with enough sober time under my belt, I could manage my drinking. Committing the crime I did proves I can't. Within almost With almost 5 years sober, I had created a very successful, legitimate business. I found my passion selling high-end watches, built a business from scratch through honesty, integrity, and transparency. My approach to sales and customer service was something this industry was strongly lacking. That grew our social media to the point where I became a trusted authority throughout the watch community. After several years, I was able to sell that business to an investor for an amount of money that I couldn't have dreamed of. I'm sorry.
Well, the third paragraph is not a good turn. That's not where you want to take the story, right? If you're
No,
talking,
it really
no.
isn't. And it doesn't sound like the other thing is that um, that really doesn't appear to have happened because he broke from all of his business partners in something that they all claim was definitely not with integrity, honesty, and transparency. All the accounting problems and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean the third paragraph is really kind of a doozy because he goes into kind of sales mode
Yeah,
where
exactly.
he starts his ego starts to show through, his narcissism starts to show through, and he wants to show the judge how great he is.
Yeah.
And maybe later in the letter, it's like, well, you have to let me out because I'm so great and I want to repay everybody back, and I can't do that unless I'm free.
Do you know what? That's actually that's like sounds like the preamble. You guys can send me to
This,
jail, but I can't. Exactly.
yeah, I mean, this my approach to sales was something that the entire industry was strongly lacking. His approach to documenting $17,000 dinners, flying, chartering planes to fly a $20,000 watch across the country to deliver it, riding around in leased luxury sports cars and doing donuts in the parking lot, getting DUIs, getting your insurance suspended, getting robbed, showing you selling Rolexes out of the backseat of your car. That's what the industry was lacking, that kind of transparency.
This is weird.
This
That
is
that sentence, the customer service sentence, really is feels extremely weird.
do you think that he grew to be a trusted authority in the watch community, as he claims?
Well, unfortunately, yeah, because the number of people that were involved with them. So trusted, there's like two definitions for trusted, right? You have people who like Andrew Tate, the Tate brothers consider trusted, and then other people that can see through the grift and know they made their money through like exploitation and of various things, know that they're clearly, enhanced, capable marketing grifters. But clearly, millions of people trust them. So I mean, yeah, he did become trusted. That's how he got away with all of this. That's not an inaccurate statement, but he wasn't trustworthy. That's different. Being trusted and being trustworthy are two dramatically different things.
Yep.
Most people trust most governments. That has nothing to do with being trustworthy.
Whole milk reminds us of the industry needed guarantee buyback program for Gerard Perregaux Laureatos. Yes.
Although I
He
think
did.
technically he was off the wagon when he offered that. That wasn't his almost 5 years sober moment.
Right.
He had to be very drunk for that one. Sorry.
I want to say hi to Kurt. I want to say hi to Toyota Mo. I want to say hi to Dear Artifact. I want to say hi to Golden Baba. Say hi to Rufus, who are all now in the chat. Good to see you guys here. Upvote the live stream. Dear Artifact says, legitimate business is a dubious statement. We know at the very least it wasn't legitimate at the end. So when did it shift from being legitimate to not legitimate? This isn't an example of credibility.
I mean, at the end of the day, like he says, with almost 5 years old, I've created a very successful legitimate business. People often forget, and I'm curious if it will come up, because he never talks about it, is that he became even remotely close to relevant because he intentionally rented, leased, or car, I think OC referred to it earlier, went in circles until that Daniel guy who does the what you do for a living, right, videos, like had his viral moment. That's it. That's how he became credible. But then when he exited Texas, we didn't know till later, but it was clear they said that there were accounting problems, transparency problems, all sorts of problems. So it doesn't feel like there was a window of credibility or legitimate or integrity or transparency anywhere in this process. At least other people, and maybe actually, who knows, maybe Texas Marco, not Marco Ferrante, will actually be one of the people who writes an attestation for him. I doubt it, but it's possible. Maybe that accountant, Michael Rudd, what was his name?
Um, oh yeah, the what was it? What was his nickname? That was funny. You guys in the chat know. The Rudinator, Michael.
Rudinator, yeah.
Yeah, the Rudinator. Michael
Yeah.
Rudin, I
So
think was his name. His
Michael
real
Rudin, there
name.
you go. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, let's see. Maybe these people write and say, yeah, no, it's actually true. Anthony was the beacon of integrity and transparency. We'll find out in a few pages.
Yep. I'll go to the next paragraph here. When I arrived in Los Angeles, I thought I was on top of the world. This is starting to sound like a movie script, Ali. When I arrived in Los Angeles, I thought I was on top of the world, but would quickly learn it was to be short-lived. I started spending money in a way that I hadn't before. I was released from a 6-year probation and started drinking again. My behavior and decision making started getting reckless, and my spending money on a lavish lifestyle hit an all-time high. The luxury market took a huge dive in the summer of 2022, and that was fuel for the fire of my financial situation. I burned through my personal funds in less than 6 months and started using clients' money to support my problems. I was taking huge losses in the business, but my ego kept me from listening to anyone or slowing down my spending.
I'm hating this more and more.
It's getting worse and
It
worse.
is getting worse because obviously people are encouraged to admit and take ownership, especially during sentencing and stuff like that. And you hear judges on TV and you read, transcripts that say, like, I didn't hear you take ownership. And he's trying, I think, like with written words, but the problem is that for every sentence of taking ownership, it appears he has 2 or 3 paragraphs of something bordering or blatantly excuse making, and also giving himself a pat on the back. Also coming off that 5-year sober, when I arrived in Los Angeles, right, he started spending money. I was released from a 6-year probation, started drinking again. Then he's in the prior paragraph, demonstrably something is false because Timepiece, Gentleman, Texas, like that whole separation was because of a lack of transparency, integrity, and honesty. Like he said that himself, and he blamed that on other people, like people weren't keeping up, but he said that himself in the videos. So, all right.
Yeah, I guess he's maybe just trying to add a lot of color to how
He's pitching a show. That's what he's doing. He's pitching that.
He is, but that's because he has the script in his head, and it also is convenient. I mean, this is the redemption of Anthony Ferrer show, the movie that he wants, right? But he's already got it in draft brief script form. What do they call it when they have a pitch idea, like it's just a few page synopsis of what the movie should be about? This is probably his pitch to Hollywood on what the movie's going to be. But I do remember at the time because people were showing the photos of him with the ankle monitor, and when he finally got that off, that was a big deal, and people noticed that he started drinking heavily right after that. That was something that was documented publicly, that there were scenes of him going to strip clubs, going to Vegas, and he definitely did not. Because when he was on that ankle monitor, he wasn't allowed to drink at all. They would be testing him on a regular basis for drugs and alcohol. Maybe, in a way, it was not a good thing for him to get the ankle monitor, for him to get off probation and have the ankle monitor removed.
Yeah, I mean, I said on air before, whether it's Stefano or Anthony Ferrer, like redemption's a beautiful thing, right? But like this doesn't feel like he's approaching or even attempting to approach redemption. This definitely feels like that thumbnail sketch, the pitch, right? He's whiteboarding the pitch to Discovery Channel, some streaming network and stuff. And unfortunately, I think it will actually work. I think that if you took a look at the number of, I'm guessing they were younger, but the number of people who were offering to save him and all sorts of things, it was unusual to me. But I think this is the same reason why people buy, bubble water from Twitch streamer girls and shit like that, used underwear from OnlyFans girls. Like there's just a market for everybody, and Anthony Ferrer has a market for people who want to white knight and save him.
Yep. Nearly 50 people watching. Guys, hit the like button. Let's get to 25 likes. The luxury market took a huge dive in the summer of 2022. That was the fuel for the fire of my financial situation. I burned through the personal funds in less than 6 months and started using clients' money to support my problems. I was taking huge losses in the business, but my ego kept me from listening to anyone or slowing down my spending. It was pure insanity to think I could fix the mess I created while continuing to do the very things that caused it. I never intended to hurt anyone, but I knew what I was doing and I wouldn't put a stop to it. I was robbing Peter to pay Paul and funding my lifestyle in between. Not a night goes by that I don't lay awake in my bunk thinking about what I did, how I took advantage of people's trust for my own greed, how I hurt people financially, how I hurt my employees and their lives. How could I have done a few simple things differently to avoid all of this?
Yeah, no. When the news of everything broke, I posted a video. Okay, you want to scroll back up? Sorry.
Nope. You want me to scroll back up?
No,
Oh,
you're
oh,
scrolling back
oh,
up. I
oh, you
started
want to keep
reading.
going? Oh, you want to keep going? Sorry. Keep
Because
going.
it just feels like it's getting worse. It's like, so when the news of everything broke, I posted a video on YouTube admitting to the world what I did. I wanted them to know what kind of person I had become, to see past the facade. I didn't want to lie anymore, pretend things were good when they weren't. But most of all, I wanted people to know I was sorry and I was going to do whatever it takes to make everyone whole again, no matter how long it takes. That promise means more to me than anything else, and I will honor it. I'm not sure if it's appropriate to talk about my potential sentence or make a request, so I'm just going to speak from the heart and see what happens. For the past 14 months of incarceration, I've not had one incident report. I've remained sober. I've been active as an orderly worker. I've participated in educational classes. I maintain a daily workout, reading, and journaling routine that has made a positive use of my life. This will remain my program as long as I'm here, whether that's 2 years or 20. The only thing time in prison is going to affect is how long it will be until I can start making amends to my victims.
Here we go.
Deserve to
Here
be
we
punished
go.
for my crimes, and I'm more than willing to accept the punishment that Your Honor has determined is appropriate. Yeah, dude, this is just terrible. This is terrible. Like, he didn't post a video like, admitting the world. Everybody already knew what he did. So he was trying to do damage control. There wasn't like an admission video, the whole news broke. When he says above, like, when it was insanity, but I knew what I was doing. Well, that means it wasn't insanity. You knew what you were doing. So when you're lying in the bunk, thinking about what you could have done differently, you're not lying in the bunk thinking about integrity, transparency, and honesty. You're lying in the bunk thinking about like what moves could have kept the grift going, because the grift was the lifestyle more than the business. It was the lifestyle. He wanted the lifestyle to keep going.
He's been a model inmate, Ollie.
Man, I'm being totally sincere.
He's
When I say this
reading.
feels unfortunate to me because I really like to see nobody's going to be made whole. Like the people who, because the time.
If you could just please let me out sooner, the sooner I can get back to pursuing my life's vision, which is making everybody whole. Where have we heard that before? That phrase, by the way. I'm going to make everyone whole. Every penny, every single penny. I'm going to make everybody whole. Where did that come from? We know where that comes from.
Well, unfortunately, we've heard it on the streams from two different guys a couple times now.
That's right. I deserve to be punished for my crimes, and I'm more than willing to accept the punishment that Your Honor has determined is appropriate. But the only thing that's going to determine when I can start making amends to the victims is the sentence that you give me. The more reasonable you are, the more I can get back to paying people back.
I've also what was it? Was it? I don't know if it was when they were covering these the Menendez brothers or whatever, right? Anytime somebody says I'm more than willing to accept the punishment, like when you're pleading guilty and stuff, that just aggravates the shit out of me. You have no choice but to accept the punishment. Right? It's like this just all feels like self-flagellation. This is terrible. It's really terrible.
Is it really that bad? You guys in the chat,
really
do you agree? Hold on a second. Let me see if I can maybe I should create a poll here. Let's create a poll. Let me go to the YouTube studio. let's do a poll, and the poll will be, I'm just gonna, maybe this is a little bit of a bias poll, but it's are you buying Anthony's sob story? Yes or no? Let's continue on. Guys, if you just joined us, Original OC channel, breaking news. Anthony Fair is begging the court for forgiveness. He's begging the court for leniency. We have the actual letter that he and his family and friends wrote to the court. This is his own, this is a letter he wrote and he filed with the court in his own words. He's being sentenced on Friday, guys. Today is Wednesday. He's being sentenced on Friday. So this is very, very timely news. Although I would appreciate a sentence below my guidance range, the more pressing issue is restrictions against using social media upon release. As a 3-time felon with no college degree, my career opportunities to pay back the millions that I owe in restitution will be severely limited. Social media marketing is one of the few skills I possess that will give me the opportunity to rebuild my life and repay those that I hurt. Rather than being restricted, I would like to request that I be allowed to use social media platforms with heavy monitoring and full disclosure to the probation department. I know I can use my story and social media skills for good. I just need a chance to prove it. Oh boy, man.
So what's
man.
interesting about this, OC, is I don't know if you had followed the news about the Haktui girl, right, and those type of things. And there's another. Hey, what's up, Brian?
Hello. How's my favorite Ollie?
I'm probably
good.
the only Ollie you know, so I'm good with that.
I thought you meant me.
It's like my dad when I was growing up would be like, "How's my favorite firstborn son?" There's precedent for this. There's some guys who run their felons, like one of them still on probation, who does a very successful podcast. I think they're talking about this for the Haktui girl is one of the things that they were talking about in the situation with her, Haktui coin sort of thing. I can totally see this becoming like a side business for companies like Meta. Like, we will absolutely help supervise and help the government supervise the social media release to have this content exclusively on Meta networks. Like, I could totally see that. It's detestable, but it's like, it's I don't know. It's just reality now, unfortunately.
Brian, what do you make of the Anthony Fair letter so far? He's begging the court for forgiveness. Are you buying it?
I've only had a couple minutes of exposure to it.
All right, let's start from the beginning. No, just kidding.
Wait. Just give me 5 minutes.
Basically, in the beginning of his letter. This is the end of the letter, by the way. But in the beginning of the letter, just to go back up to the top, he's talking about his that alcohol is really at the beginning, is really at the center of all of the misfortune in his life. He's had some hardships in his life. He lost his twin brother to a motorcycle wreck. He lost his mom to suicide. He missed the son of his birth. Alcohol is what led to the loss of his business, and his spending spiral out of control. Yeah. And now he's just saying, and I think it's actually kind of worth repeating this paragraph, because this is really the most kind of disturbing part of everything that he said so far. Although I would appreciate a sentence below my guidance range, the more pressing issue is the restrictions against using social media upon release. As a 3-time felon with no college degree, my career opportunities to pay back the millions that I owe in restitution will be severely limited. Social media marketing is one of the few skills I possess that will give me the opportunity to rebuild my life and repay those that I hurt. Rather than being restricted, I would like to request that I be allowed to use social media platforms with heavy monitoring and full disclosure to the probation department. I know I can use my story and social media skills for good. I just need a chance to prove it. And then finally, the last paragraph, I made a lot of mistakes, but those do not define who I really am. I've done a lot of work looking into my past and have gained a better understanding of why I do what I do. And I know I have a lot more to go. The more I learn about myself, the better equipped I am to share my story and experiences with people in the future and help others avoid the mistakes I've made. I believe a career in counseling or life coaching could be something I pursue after I repair the damage I've done. Until then, I want to apologize again to everyone I hurt and hope that one day I can make things right and earn their forgiveness. Sincerely, Anthony William Ferrer.
See, one of the things that's in that second to last paragraph betrays the level of I just call it ignorance and naivety, but I think it's ignorance. He doesn't even know a sentence yet. He's already asking for the post-sentencing restrictions to be reduced.
Yeah.
Right? Like this whole thing is just either he really believed he was going to get probation. Like if he made this plea, I can make the money. That's not what the justice system is for. Like they will try to recoup the money, but the justice system is not to make you an indentured servant to repay the money. Otherwise, that form of slavery lends itself to a different type of abuse. Right, that's well documented in the history of the rights of Englishmen and the type of adjustments that were made from abuses to Irish, moving all the way to modern times. Right, so this dude is extremely naive.
Yeah, I think John D has it right here. John D says it sounds like he's making a public plea for an adjustment to his restrictions. Actually, this is not this is a public document, but this was written to the court. So this is going to the judge. Basically, so the judge can read it before the judge sentences him on Friday. Keep in mind that Anthony, at the time that he wrote this and finalized it, he probably knew, because he was in discussions, his lawyer with the district attorneys, that they were going to recommend to the court that he get 5 years and 10 months in prison. So he probably knew that was a sentence, and he thought, that's actually kind of good. I'm getting off kind of light. So, but if I can't use social media, I'm dead. Because his whole persona, his whole way that he's scammed people, every scheme that he's ever come up with involves social media. And
yeah, so a couple things interest me. One, in the past, when there's been people that have done financial crimes and stuff like that, they've lost their licenses to perform in those roles afterwards, i.e., bank fraud and stuff like that. Inside trading stuff, you lose your rights to perform in that area. And his area of expertise really is social media, so he should lose that right to.
Right, he's actually kind of doing an end run around the court. Like if doing watch dealing was a licensed business, he would have his watch dealing license revoked. But he doesn't care about that. He just cares that he won't be on YouTube and he won't be on Instagram.
Yeah. Now, was there any mention anywhere in there earlier about continued alcohol counseling and maintaining sobriety?
Yes.
Well, barely, but he didn't mention 12 step. He didn't mention anything specific. He does talk about he has a workout program. I thought this was interesting. He talks, I have a workout program, I have a work release, but he doesn't say, I attend 2 AA meetings a day every day. I've done 30 and 30 or any of those things that the various 12-step programs, suggest you adhere to. He doesn't say any of that. That actually I found is a glaring, right?
And what he needs to realize is his 5 years sober ended just the same minute he got the patch and the ankle bracelet taken off.
But he does say that.
Well, it does. Yeah, he does say that, because actually in this paragraph right here, he does say that.
Let's see these 2 paragraphs. You're right on top of them. It's the 5 year sober, and then the next one, I have my 6 year
Yeah.
probation. So
Within almost 5 years sober, I had created a very successful, legitimate business. I found my passion selling high-end watches and built the business from scratch using honesty, integrity, and transparency. My approach to sales and customer service was something this industry was strongly lacking. That grew our social media to the point where I became a trusted authority throughout the watch community. After several years, I was able to sell that business to an investor for an amount of money that I couldn't have dreamed of. When I arrived in Los Angeles, I thought I was on top of the world, but would quickly learn it was to be short-lived. I started spending money in a way I hadn't before. I was released from the 6-year probation and started drinking again. That's Brian. Remember when he had the ankle monitor removed?
And
My behavior.
remember,
Go ahead.
he also had a narcotics patch that he had to wear because he had one that gave him a false positive reading.
False
and had to go
cocaine-
back
false-
to Dallas for it.
That's right. He had a false reading for cocaine, and everybody jumped on him at the time. I mean, everybody did because it was a reading that he had been tested positive for cocaine, and turns out that that was a false reading. My behavior and decision making started getting reckless, and my spending money on lavish lifestyle hit an all-time high. Yeah. So he does mention the alcohol here.
Yeah, he fails to mention the drug use because they don't make you wear one of those patches because you like vodka.
Yeah, but you're not swayed by his call for leniency. I mean, look,
No.
but he posted a video on YouTube coming clean. You remember that? With the empty toilet, the empty what was it called? The paper hanger behind him, the toilet roll.
Toilet paper roll. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. No, not until he's no. I have some experience. I have some experience in this area, and I've seen people that have hit rock bottom and want to change, and this is not him.
Gatsby says, I think we're forgetting the most important purpose of the criminal justice system is to protect the rest of society from the offenders. Do you think you need protecting from Anthony? I mean, other people do. I know people who know the case don't, but there are innocent people who, after he's released, will be susceptible to similar kinds of scams.
I want after he's released, I want everybody to reach out to him and try to get their 20% profit on the watches that he sold to him, promising that.
Yeah. Do you agree with his argument that the lighter the sentence, the better it is for society, because the sooner he can get back to working every single day for the people that he's hurt to make them whole again? Okay. By the way, shockingly enough, nearly a quarter of the people are buying Anthony's sob story according to our real-time poll. So that's and those people are being serious. I know that they are. They're not just entering yes because they're trying to subvert the poll. They actually believe it. This letter feels as if we're looking beyond the harm that he's done, and he's looking toward his get out of jail moment so he can put this time out behind him and get things going again. Of course it is. Yeah, of course he is.
I can't wait to see what the other letters are. Like from
that's it. That was this letter, and we've read it in its entirety. I don't think we need to belabor the point. I think we get the gist of what he is, how he has pled with the court for leniency, and mainly to have his social media restrictions kind of not lifted in its entirety, but as part of his probation, he wouldn't be allowed to use social media at all, and he wants to use social media. Let's see what we got here. Okay. This is public documents, so I mean, it was filed with the court. These are public documents. This is a letter from Don and Ruby Ferrer, and let's read it. I, Ruby L. Ferrer, and my husband Don W. Ferrer adopted Anthony and his twin brother in 1988 when they were 5 months old. We were registered with Lutheran Social Services in Dallas, Texas. Ellen, birth mother, and Melissa, birth mother, chose us from the reference letter that we had submitted to the Lutheran Social Services. It was an open adoption, and we've had a beautiful relationship with the whole family. Ruby has worked at Texas Instruments since 1978 as a security officer with a top secret clearance. I retired in 2013. Don worked for Texas Instruments at Sherman, Texas from 1972 until November 2022. He was a licensed master electrician and life safety controls tech. Don is a master mason and has served as worship master. Don and Ruby are members of the Order of Eastern Star, number 180 chapter in Sherman, Texas. We have served as worthy matron and worthy patron from 1988 to 1989. We've lived at this location for over 50 years. We own our home and we owe no one, as well as have no debts. Anthony and his twin Cameron attended Grayson Christian School until passing 8th grade. For high school, they wanted to attend public school in order to engage in sports. Anthony played basketball and learned good team sportsmanship and etiquette. Anthony has a very pleasant personality and has never been extremely aggressive. He is very intelligent, has a very high IQ, and can usually talk himself out of any confrontation. Aunts, uncles, cousins, and family friends have always enjoyed his companionship. I've witnessed him several times giving money to homeless people. Anthony went to work during his senior year of high school as a fast food worker. Everyone has always had great compliments for his good work ethic. Making a living has always been easy for him. I don't know what Anthony plans to do after his rehabilitation, but he has stated that he wants to take courses to advance his qualifications to get a good job. And we know he has the ability to achieve any goal he sets. Anthony has had several traumas that have affected his mental attitude, but he has always been able to successfully cope with disappointment. And here we go through the litany of apparently some setbacks in Anthony's life. Cameron, Anthony's twin, was in a fatal motorcycle accident on October 20, 2013. He was only 25 years old. Melissa, Anthony's birth mother, had cancer and shot herself in a car belonging to Anthony in January 2017. She couldn't stand the pain anymore. Dick, Anthony's birth grandfather, passed in February 2017. Anthony has also had a couple of close cousins pass in the last couple of years. Don, his father, had a widowmaker heart attack in October 2022. He survived and is doing well. Ruby, his mother, has had cardiac bypass surgery in August 2024, and I'm recovering fast. Don will be 68 in December 2024, and Ruby is 80 as of August 2024. We will celebrate 40 years of marriage in April 2025. Anthony is very independent and proud, and I believe he will avoid getting into trouble in the future.
I don't begrudge, his step parents. Like, we could talk about their lodge work or why a top secret clearance at Texas Instruments is not only meaningless but like stupid to talk about, like all sorts of things. But this is it. This is parents desperate. They don't know how to navigate a situation. They probably don't know nearly as much about Anthony's background as they think they do, which is the case for most parents, right, of troubled children. They may not know about the like all male escorting and all sorts of various other stuff. I don't begrudge him writing this. Gatsby, this was submitted to the courts.
Yeah, this was submitted to the courts for the purpose of sharing with the court, I don't even want to call them setbacks, but life experiences that Anthony has had that should be relevant in his sentence. So I appreciate the fact that these are personal details. We're not providing anybody's last name or physical addresses or anything like that, but this is public information, and it was filed on Anthony's behalf to reduce his sentence. So let's see who else has filed briefs On
I
the
won't lie that felt uncomfortable, but it felt uncomfortable from the standpoint of really, it's like you do kind of grieve for parents to a certain extent. It's easy to say
Well,
it may also be their fault or
I
whatever,
know, but
but
I
you
know, but
still
the fact
grieve.
that he had a cousin who had a heart attack. We're just supposed to let him out of jail early because of that? I mean, we all
No,
have
but dude,
situations.
if yeah, no, I mean, obviously President Biden just pardoned his son and a brother and a sister and all sorts of stuff, right? Pre-pardon in the case of brother or sister. Like there's millions of things we could hold to account, but like one of them 68, one of them's 80. They're floundering to cope and deal with the situation, and probably many situations they have not been willing to accept for years. I don't begrudge them for writing the letter. I certainly don't think the judge needs to give it any credence. But I feel bad because it's like you can't go back for any number of parents who are especially older, right? It's easy to criticize like this is your fault. You could have changed things, but you can't now. You can't change any of it now, right? So it's like, to what end? And we've applied that same rubric to a very prominent streamer from Australia who had some tragedies and difficulties with his children.
Sure.
There's just what it is.
Yep. 60 people watching now. Please upvote the live stream. Let's get to 35 likes. Guys, breaking news. Anthony Fair and his family are begging the court for leniency. Well, Anthony's begging to use social media. His family members are trying to provide the court with some context. But it was funny that his parents never mentioned alcohol. Not a single time in that letter.
Yep.
Right.
Seeing Al-Anon on this one, I'm interested to hear.
This is for those of you who feel uncomfortable, then please mute the live stream. But this is a letter from Anthony's grandmother, I believe. Okay.
All right. So November 23rd, 2024. Your Honor, I am Ellen. I'm a 79-year-old retired school teacher, a widow for nearly 7 years, and an active member of Al-Anon for 43 years. For those who don't know what Al-Anon is a support group for family members of alcoholics. It is a 12-step support group for family members of alcoholics. And it is not just, and I'm saying this because I have a lot of experience with this, it's important to I mean, at this point, like other family members, but it is meant to help them work on their own 12 steps. It's not like a group that is meant to tell you that everything's okay and it's the alcoholic's fault. It's actually to help people work on their own 12 steps. I have one living child, a son, 6 living grandchildren, and 3 great-grandchildren. I've lived at this address for 32 years. Yesterday, Anthony Fair is my oldest grandson, and I love him dearly. Anthony and his twin brother Cameron were born to my daughter Melissa 5 days after her 19th birthday. She was single, 1 year and 2 months sober. The father wanted nothing to do with them. Melissa and the babies came home from the hospital to my house. When they were 6 weeks old, she went back out and told me I could have them. I made the decision not to keep them because they were the children of 2 addicts. I didn't like the odds. Interesting. But I wanted to be the grandmother Melissa wanted to stay as involved as she could. When they were 5 months old, they were adopted through Lutheran services by Ruby and Don Fair, who agreed to keep us involved. I had a meal every month with them until they were in high school. Then it varied. They came to my house and our house when I was married in 1992 every Christmas and Easter for big family meals here, stockings, Easter egg hunts. They even came to stay with us for a few days in the summer. I've always been Grandma Ellen. My daughter got sober again in 1990 and saw them almost as much as I did.
This isn't really anything about Anthony here. This is really about his upbringing, and I think this is relevant from her perspective for the judge, and so this is what she's choosing to share with the judge. The family Anthony grew up in was a fiercely loving one. The boys were sheltered with hard rules and shame. That I know of, they never spent the night at anyone's house and no outside school activities until high school. They went to a very small private school with a church curriculum until public high school. All in all, it was not the way we would have raised them, but we were told if we questioned Ruby and Don's parenting, we would not be allowed to see them again. It was critical that the boys know they were loved regardless of their behavior, a grandmother's job, and blessing. From his record, Anthony's had difficulties, to say the least. Melissa wrote him when he was incarcerated the first time, making amends for not keeping them and raising them differently. He responded he loved his parents and knew they loved him, and that he recognized he was where he was because of his own decisions. He asked my husband, his grandfather, and I, after that first incarceration, if we could loan him money for an apartment deposit. We told him that was the one time we would help. Not only has he not asked again, he paid us back, even though we told him it was a gift. His twin Cameron was killed in October 2013 in a one-vehicle motorcycle accident by a drunk driver himself. They were very different people, and Anthony always looked out for Cameron. I don't know that Anthony has ever really grieved that huge loss. His death absolutely devastated Melissa as well as Ruby and Dawn, who wanted no information about alcoholism, even though we told them chances were good the boys could be alcoholic. Melissa took the boys to Alcoholics Anonymous meetings after high school. Anthony was such a rock during that time. I remember how hard he held my hand at Cameron's burial. Melissa took her own life nearly 7 years ago when she got terminal cancer prognosis.
This is really dark.
Yeah, this is sharing a lot of really deep personal pain and details about Anthony's family's life. Melissa took her own life after she got a terminal cancer prognosis. She'd been sober 14 years, went back out just before Cameron died. She tried unsuccessfully to get sober again. Anthony sat with me during her funeral, holding my hand. My husband was in the hospital and died 3 weeks later. Anthony is an integral part of our family. One Thanksgiving, when it had been just Anthony, Melissa's two other sons, 11 and 13 years younger, and for me for the feast, I moaned about having to get Christmas up in a hurry for the rest of the family. Anthony and the boys, his decision, put Christmas up, tree and all in 3 hours. What a lifesaver. When his son Soren came to meet him for the first time, he brought him and Soren's mom to my house to meet the family. Ruby and Dawn came too. I have his and Cameron's baby pictures, and we looked through them for resemblances to Soren. He looks like Cameron. I sent Soren birthday and Christmas cards, though I have stopped now that Anthony's in jail because Soren's mother doesn't want Soren to know and doesn't allow any contact with him. Anthony adores that little guy. I know what he's done this time. I know he recognizes his responsibility for where he is and that he needs serious consequences for these truly bad decisions. He always wanted to live that life, and this time he did, at a terrible price. We've emailed him often since he's been there. He wrote before the email was possible that he hoped to pay back the $3 million. His emails have gone from how he's going to get better while he's there to how he needs to get to the truth of himself, which I pray he does. I've heard humility and resignation lately. Anthony wants to live a good life the right way, be Soren's dad and be back with our family. I very much want to see my grandson again. This photo is of us, October 2023, a few days before he went to prison. Though he was the only one who knew it, he took the picture. I thought he was a bit distant. Now I know he was saying goodbye. I pray you will be as lenient as you can be. He's an incredibly hard worker, a good man with a loving heart, and some life-threatening addictions. I think he may finally see that. Thank you for your consideration.
Well, Grandma's got the idea. It's a hard idea, but
that's more of the tone I think that Anthony should have had. By the way, the results of the poll, are you buying Anthony's sob story? Actually, no is gaining ground as those family letters are being read. I think that while the family history is sad and those circumstances are heart-wrenching, I don't think people see a correlation between what he did and the family situations that he encountered. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they do see a tie. All right. And then finally, let's just see. I think there's maybe one or two letters left. Dear Judge Staton, first allow me to introduce myself. My name is Michael, MD. I've practiced medicine here in Texas for over 30 years. I met Anthony Fair about 15 years ago in more simple times when he had little, but he worked hard and was proud of what he had. He was likable, confident, inclusive, and fun to be with. He's been my personal trainer, patient, friend, and now more like a son to me. I've been proud of him and ashamed of him, but I've always tried to be here for him and will continue to do so. I've seen him through the best of times and the worst of times, through the loss of his biological mother to suicide and his twin brother to a motorcycle accident. And I've always been amazed by Anthony's resilience to keep moving forward in spite of adversity. He's truly a force of nature whose ego structure seems unbreakable. In 2016, Anthony then lived with me for a short period of time. Having previous legal issues, he was unable to lease his own apartment and found it impossible to find jobs. But when others might have been discouraged, he was more motivated to better himself. So he took social media by storm, and he fell in love with watches and became the Timepiece gentleman. I watched in awe as his fame grew. I would be in an Uber or at work, and strangers would know the Timepiece gentleman, and I was very proud and felt somehow I was a part of his success. But with his success came distance, and I knew more and more about him by social media than I did personally. And with success came excess, and his lifestyle oozed this in every way. It was not until August 2023 that Anthony returned to me after his time in Los Angeles. The truth was not the glamorous life as seen on social media. He was drowning in debt, homeless, and consumed by guilt. He sat at my dining room table for days, planning how he could stop the insanity and begin to make restitution. He even made a debt countdown on social media to show his redemption strategy. But this was too late, and his debt was insurmountable. I've never seen Anthony cry before, not even with the loss of his mother and brother, but that day, I did. And for the first time in his life, I believe he saw that his actions hurt others, not just himself. And for the first time, he seemed broken. It was about 2 months later when the FBI picked him up. Though I was not surprised, I was alarmed. But what did surprise me was the first time I talked to Anthony. I expected to hear fear or anxiety, but instead I heard relief. The FBI actually had rescued him from his life that had gotten out of control, and he seemed thankful. He told me he was ready to pay his debt and serve his time. And over the past year in detention, he has again showed the resilience of the Anthony that I knew in the past. He seems to want to use the time to his benefit. He's journaling and reading and trying to learn Spanish. He works out every day and somehow, with commissary, manages to eat healthy, telling me that he's in the best shape of his life. He's read countless self-help books and hopes to start college classes during time served. But when I talk to him on the phone, which is almost every day, I do not hear defeat. I hear hope and plans for the future. I truly believe that he will return to me as a better friend and a better man, and that I will be thankful for this time spent. I'm reminded of a quote from Louisa May Alcott from the book Little Women, and I paraphrase, quote, "A year seems a very long time to wait before I see them again, but that while we wait, they must work hard so that these hard times are not wasted, and that they will conquer themselves beautifully so that when they return to me, I will be fonder and prouder," unquote. Please know that Anthony has a gentle heart beneath that tough exterior. I know this time away is already helping him, but we'll hope that his return home will be sooner rather than later, depending on the court's goodwill and discretion. And I pray that this time served is just long enough to make him a better man and also just short enough that he's not influenced adversely from inside. Please let him know that we are here to help him start over again and look forward to his return. Respectfully, Michael, MD. And that is the final filing in the case. The final brief sent to the court on Anthony Fair's behalf, which encompasses the entire Exhibit A submitted to the court just prior to Anthony's sentencing this Friday, coming up in 2 days.
Yeah, so what's missing are some pretty obvious ones, that attest to his integrity in business. Nothing from the Rudinator, Marco in Texas, any of those people. Nothing from Liz
Nope.
and folks. I'm sure a lot of those people may be, witnesses and stuff like that. There's potentially not necessary. I don't know. This was really like, this hurt. Like, it doesn't matter what the situation is. Like, there's a lot of collateral damage, and you could talk about parents involvement, all sorts of things, and the judge doesn't need to take, and probably shouldn't take, much of this in consideration. Especially Anthony's letter was by far the worst. But if I want to be particularly rude or harsh for a moment, like, you kind of, from the other letters, at least the one from his step-parents, you kind of get the tooting your own horn is an important part of life, because there was a ton of irrelevant stuff in that.
Yep.
So yeah, this dude, this really, it just sucks.
What I noticed about that letter from his old friend was basically, I heard his old friend say, we used to be very, very close when he had nothing. And then when he became rich and successful, we never talked. And he never reached out to me again.
Yeah.
And I was only able to follow him through social media as the personal experiences that I had became less and less and less, and then eventually became nothing. And the only time he reached out to me, finally, was when he was on the run from the FBI. And he was homeless and living out of the storage unit, basically. And then he reached out to his old friend and said, hey, can I come see you and stay with you? So, that part rings true to me more than anything else. And I think it actually hurts him.
Yeah,
as far as I'm concerned, it actually, you got to run?
I need to go. Brian Pike, congratulations on your win last night. And thank you, Mark, from Island Watch. OC, thank you for allowing me to join your panel.
Pleasure.
Audience, everybody, you guys take care. See you guys later.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Ollie. The link to join the panel may be pinned. It may not be. There may be the poll still running. So what I'll do is I'll drop the link in the chat here. If anybody wants to jump on the panel and talk about this, we don't need to belabor it. I think I wanted to provide a forum to kind of share what was filed with the court. This is an exclusive breaking news. Anthony Fair, aka the Timepiece gentleman, is begging for forgiveness, and he's begging the court for leniency. But more important than that, as you can read here, he's begging to be able to use social media again, and that is the most important thing that he is requesting. Anthony has a gentle heart as long as he's spending everyone else's cash money, honey. There you go. Yeah, I think let's not. As kind of heart-wrenching as those details are about his family, I'm not swayed. I'm not swayed at all. I think he knew exactly what he was doing. I don't think it was the alcohol. I think it was the guy. He fell in love with the lifestyle and the coke and the hookers and the gambling and whatever he was doing. And the guy ripped off. He stole $5.7 million from investors and clients. So my sympathies are with those people. Not the investors as much as the clients, but the people whose watches that were on consignment that he stole and converted to his personal use. My sympathies are with them and not with him. He knew he was robbing Peter to pay Paul. He was the one who came up with all the bad ideas, the $95,000 a month penthouse, spending $500,000 on furniture, spending $500,000 on security system, the crazy ideas, the $2,000 Facebook groups. It was, the blackout we have example after example after example after example of a lack of integrity in business and a lack of integrity in his professional life. And if he had misfortunes in his personal life, I don't care. Not that I don't care. I'm not trying to be cold-hearted. But if his father-in-law had a heart attack, or a cousin has diabetes, or that's that's not a reason to let him out early, and it's certainly not a reason to make the social media restrictions more lenient in his while he's in prison, and after he comes out of prison. Brian, are you there? Or are you taking a quick break? He may be away from the stream for a couple seconds, but the link to join the panel is dropped. Let's see how the poll is going. Let's get to I think we have let's get to 55 votes. Whoever hasn't voted in the poll, please vote in the poll. Let's get to 55 votes and we will close it out. Take a look at the poll, guys. Are you buying Anthony's sob story? I think we have plenty of results here. Are you buying Anthony's sob story? Yes, 17%. No, overwhelmingly 82%. So you guys are definitely not buying it. This part of the letter, I think, is the most damning from my perspective here. It says, although I would appreciate a sentence below my guidance range, the more pressing issue is restrictions against using social media upon release. As a 3-time felon with no college degree, my career opportunities to pay back the millions that I owe in restitution will be severely limited. Social media marketing is one of the few skills I possess that will give me the opportunity to rebuild my life and repay those that I hurt. You need to give me access to YouTube, Judge, so I can pay back the victims. Rather than being restricted, I would like to request that I be allowed to use social media platforms with heavy monitoring and full disclosure to the probation department. I know I can use my story and social media for good. I just need a chance to prove it. He needs the social media, guys. He needs social media because he'd like a lower sentence, because the sooner he gets out, the sooner he can pay back the victims. But more important than that is I need social media, please, Judge, please. I need Instagram. Without Instagram, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Hold on a second. I just need to send a quick text message. By the way, I also want to say, let me just check something real quick. Sorry, I'm a one-man show right now. All right, cool. Thank you, Skip Intro. New viewer. Newbie says, by social media, I think he means OnlyFans. I can hear prisons can be. Come on, Newbie. That's not nice. Hello, Uncle Squish Curly.
Good afternoon. I'm glad you're not a judge, man.
Have your heartstrings been, I don't want to say tugged. Have they been pulled?
Shout out to your chat. You got a great chat. Listen, I got to say, he got about with time served, he got less than a year for every mil that he scammed. That's not a bad deal for. Seems like
you're assuming that he has millions stashed some way in the form of diamonds or watches that he can. Well, like actually,
no.
but so you're saying even if he doesn't have the money, he blew the money. He stole it and used it, and just because he lost it doing whatever he was doing,
Well,
he still had use of that money. Yeah,
this
you're right.
is what's
you're right.
important about the timeline. Okay, it's always important about the timeline. Let's put the timeline together. Hi, Pipe.
Yeah.
Is Brian okay?
Yeah, he's taking a quick break. He'll be right back.
Hey, Paz, Swiftus Maximus, Nate.
Yeah, good people in the
Newbie.
chat.
Got
Really
lots
good
of
people in the chat.
So
Over 60 people watching, by the way. Over 60 people.
there you go. Kick it in on MCOC.
Right.
I mean, just think about it. Just think about it 1 second, the timeline. So he had patch, alcohol monitor, and a GPS monitor that was built in, right? I think the patch was drug only, and then he had an alcohol monitor / location monitor, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the whole time he was on that, he did begin to start being a flex monster when he started going viral, right? If the time he went viral, remember he used to be in that little shoebox in that office building, and he went viral with that kid, the kid from IG. Remember he gave him a watch, the kid that asks everybody, "What do you do for a living?"
Yep.
Because they drive
Yeah.
right.
So the guy on TikTok. Yeah.
Yeah. So when he got that taste of being viral, that's when he started turning into a flex monster. He started the $2,000 private Facebook group, and look, he got $268,000 from that thing, and for the new build out or whatever. He started, private jets, hand delivery from the watches and stuff. So, you got to wonder if it was just a the perfect storm of things that hit. He went to LA. The investor gave him, I don't know how much money. He went to LA. He also got bought out from the old TPG, right? They kept the channel or whatever.
And he left them with a huge tax bill, with
yeah.
a tax liability that they
Yeah.
had to end up paying back states for which they owed state sales tax that wasn't.
Yeah, but
paid
even
yet.
then he was shooting. He had the, I tend to believe that whole penthouse thing was a YouTube stunt, and I'll tell you why. That place had been vacant for I don't know how long. The real estate agent that happened to be the listing agent for that is another social media, monster, right? The woman that was the
Yes. Yeah.
So I
But
kind of believe.
But he always picked people where in their professions they were more social media than
And remember
substance.
he used to be a real estate agent. He was a Caldwell Banker real estate agent. That was one of his jobs. He was actually fairly successful. He just didn't like it because he liked the this was before he actually got his DUI. That's why he lost that job. I mean, that's all in his little life story that he tells. And he knew that he was a born to sell guy. And he said, I think he said he had that for 1 year. He was rising within the ranks, and then but he had a party lifestyle, and then he got I believe it was his second DUI, and he lost that job. But the thing is, when he did that, when he was doing all of this stuff, the market was still kind of going down, but still good. When he got off of got his freedom, they cut the ankle bracelet, no more monitoring at all. Okay. Right then and there, he already went through the penthouse thing, and he said he lost $1 million. Then he opens up that shop in Beverly Hills. When he opened up that shop, off Rodeo Drive, like an alley in Rodeo Drive,
Right.
the market was started to tank. And what he did, which was very smart, was, if you remember, he switched over to TikTok because the YouTube thing, everybody that he had on the YouTube, all his YouTube clients, they already knew the market was shit. So nobody's buying flex pieces and all that stuff. He went over to TikTok, and his last two huge victims, I mean, he had more than two people that he ripped off on, off of TikTok. But the two big ones were that guy from Arizona and Wesley. And I think that that's what happened to him, was that all of a sudden the market tanked. He couldn't even pay for his store and his lifestyle. And when he switched over to TikTok, that kept him. I think that's when he went into the criminality part, and his Ponzi scheme fell apart. As far as him getting busted, he was trying to hide it the whole time. It was Bob from Arizona and Wesley that blew the whistle on him. That's the only reason that he did the empty paper towel holder video. I'm born to lose. I hit rock bottom, and then the next day he does,
because he got caught.
Day number 1 to rebuilding and making everybody whole. I'm going to make everybody whole.
Remember that? It was a new series, day one.
But I mean, I think Wesley alone, because the first indictment documents, if you remember, there were only two government plaintiffs that they did the indictments on. All his wire fraud, wire fraud charges and stuff only had to do with Bob and with Wesley. So I actually think when that guy was under monitor of the state of Texas, when he had the GPS monitor on and the drug patch, and he was pretending to be straight and sober. He was straight and sober, but he did already start his flex lifestyle. I remember by that time he had the Lamborghini. He had 3. I mean, what the fuck do you need? 3 Ducati motorcycles and 2 Moto Guzzi motorcycles, right?
I like how you pronounce that, Moto Guzzi.
Yeah, I mean, it is fascinating, but it's not fascinating enough to get a Netflix movie out of it. Although I guess they explored it because Luz actually announced on his channel that he was interviewed by Netflix, and the reason that they dropped the docuseries is because Anthony said that it was making him. He wanted editorial rights. And when he read what they had put together already, and he read it, he said that he didn't want anything to do with it because it portrayed him in too negative of a light.
Oh yeah.
So pretty funny, yeah. Also, Lou says that he's got a channel that he checks in on once a week, but he didn't want to give the name of the channel out.
Yeah, I think he had one that was like at Anthony for a while. Maybe that was the Instagram.
It got squashed. Yeah. And then he wanted to go through Luz again. But then Luz on his last video said that Anthony has had 2 phone-in things on another channel, but he doesn't want to promote the channel. Yeah. Crazy.
Swiftus in the chat, just to take it easy on the tugging stuff in the chat. Like, we get it. You don't have to, like, every single comment doesn't have to say
premium lotion, man. He used premium lotion.
Come on. But Swiftus does say the Fed sentencing guidelines say that he can get 63 to 90 months. If you've been watching this channel, then you know that we've already covered the fact that that the prosecution has already submitted to the court last week their recommendation. The recommendation is as follows: the government respectfully submits that the defendant should be sentenced to 70 months in custody, 3 years probation, and payment of a $200 special assessment, and an amount of restitution to be determined later, only to be determined later because they think that 5.7 million may not be enough. They want to allow time for people who haven't heard of the case, which I mean, come on. If you were a victim of Anthony Ferrer, there's zero chance that you haven't heard that he was arrested and he's been, awaiting trial all this time. So, but just as a formality, what they said is, if there is anybody that hasn't come forward, we want those people to feel free to come forward after his sentencing, so that we can adjust the amount upward from 5.7 to a higher amount. But so this is 5.7 in restitution and 5 years. 10 months in prison is the recommended sentence, Swiftus.
So you don't think that this guy stashed away either watches or money?
Yeah, I think there's a good chance that there's at least $1 or $2 million in watches and diamonds or something easy. He knows he probably planned
I mean,
unless he blew it all, Curly. Unless he blew it all.
But I mean, look at the mess. Look at the mess that he would have left because, I mean, they said that he was using other people's watches as collateral from loans from other dealers. I mean, do the feds go in and try to claw these watches back? You would imagine that people that put their watches on consignment with him. After he gets arrested, I would imagine they could say it's stolen, register the serial numbers. And what happens, what happens to a lot of these dealers that had no idea that this guy was using other people's watches? And what happens if they have watches in their possession that now are declared stolen? Do the feds go in and claw that stuff back? Because you don't hear any of that with any of this stuff. I mean, if you remember Wesley's story, he got so suspicious that he sent an armored truck to pick up the rest of his watches at Anthony's place, and he was expecting 48 watches, and I think he stepped away with like 31. So what happens? Do the feds go after these things? I mean, everybody had consignment agreements, I would imagine, with serial numbers on there and stuff. So what is the fallout from this guy with people that he was, using either watches as collateral or, selling if the watch was on the market for $100,000, he would sell it to a dealer for 80 just to get the cash, quick cash. It's crazy.
I'm on the side that he's busted flat broke.
Like gone, right? The stuff is just gone.
Yeah. Zeroed.
Because I don't think anybody would take the risk to hide stuff for him.
Actually, that kind of makes sense, Brian, because when he was on the run at the end, you'd think that if he had anything stashed, he would have gone to some connections and said, "Hey, listen, I got this watch. It's worth $50,000. Will you give me 20,000 for it to either flee the country or do something?" But he was, you're right, flat broke because he had to go this friend that he had basically abandoned for years and say, "Hey, is there any way I could stay with you?"
Yeah, and Curly, first of all, it's nice to be with you again, and like 2 times this week. Wow.
You sound so excited, Brian.
No, it is exciting. Yeah, this is like our time. This is like the time we shared a cell in prison. The issue would be, as far as unraveling all this, is how much legwork would that take, and is it worth that? Is it worth it that much to the feds to really unravel it and spend all that money on it and time?
Yeah. I mean, they're not going to go hunting for watches. I mean, the hope is that a watch comes up and someone flags it as stolen. Those have all been flagged as stolen.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, this guy on TikTok, before he got busted, he had, there was pictures of him with, I think they were all Wesley's watches, because the guy, he was big on Daytonas, but I mean, the guy had like 6 Daytonas in one hand, like 3 of them were meteorites. It was crazy.
Mm-hmm. Question for the panel and for the audience from Skip Intro. Did Anthony cooperate with the government for anything? Or is he getting some reduced time? The answer is no. He didn't cooperate in the sense that there was nothing that the government alleged was a conspiracy that involved anybody else other than himself. And is he getting reduced time?
That wouldn't be, if he cooperated, if he was a CA, that wouldn't be in the public documents.
Yeah, that wouldn't be there. Is he getting reduced time? According to people who have provided commentary on this, there is a possibility that he'll get reduced time for time served. So, for example, the 14 months that he's spent in the Metropolitan Detention Center will come off of his sentence. So,
and he has to Fed charge. You have to do 85% of the time,
and you have to do at least 85% of the time. So, I mean, he could theoretically be out in 3 years.
Just think of that. That's less. That's about 12 months per million that he defrauded people of.
Yeah.
That's
you have
amazing.
cases of Elizabeth, whatever her name is, the Theranos CEO, the psychopath. and she stole hundreds of millions of dollars and only got sentenced to 11 years in prison.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you look at it that way, the sentence is harsh.
Yeah, white collar crime that doesn't involve violence. Yeah, it's really up to the judge. But I mean, I think he was. I think for him to first of all throw himself on to with a public defender. I think he actually got a pretty darn good. I think he's got to be very happy with the deal that he got. Now I don't know how they're going to enforce garnishing anything that he makes when he gets out.
Well,
That's
if he's
gonna
not, if he can't use Instagram, Curly, how's he going to live? How's he going to make a living? How's he going to make it right if he can't tweet every day?
I don't think they can bar him from social media because he's been doing it from jail. I mean, so
I think as part of it, if I pull up his listen, if I pull this up, let's see. If I search for okay, let me see here. I thought there was a stipulation that he was not allowed to use social media. Let me see if I can find it.
I highly doubt it. He's doing it from jail. I mean,
Well,
as long as as long as somebody's paying for it, no different than using a. If he violates their rules, because it's no different than a phone call, it's monitored. If he violates their rules, then they could do it. But I think a judge trying to order that, I don't think so. That's I highly doubt that.
he requested leniency on that in his letter.
Yeah, it's
somewhere he's got.
They
the
might
idea
have.
that-
They might have. He. I was actually very surprised that he was able to do what he was doing from jail with Luz, because he was using both email and collect calls, and basically like running I'll draw you a picture for commissary money thing out of there using a third party. So I don't know how he was dumb enough to do that before his sentencing, but he was doing it, and I know that he got a mandatory blackout from the correctional facility.
Yeah, it's not in here. I do remember reading something about that though, and I can't find it in this document. Maybe it'll be a part of his terms of parole.
I was listening in the background. And it's like, if he had a real estate license, or he was a securities license for selling stocks. I mean, you don't need anything to be a watch dealer. I mean,
Right.
so I don't know how they could bar him from doing that kind of stuff. But I don't think they could. I don't think they could take him off of social media, or put social media that he can't have, do anything with social media. He is going to be on probation, I think, for 2 years, right?
3 years.
3 years.
3 years of supervised release.
I know a couple of guys that I used to sell to in the tobacco industry that got busted by the feds, and part of their parole after they came out was that they were no longer allowed to have their name on any licenses that pertain to federal registrations. So now they're working as a super senior executive vice president, and then there's a president of the company that's signed on to the.
Yeah, because that's tobacco's under the ATF, right? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you think it was a really big deal, but it seems like it's a really big deal, kind of in the niche genre, really.
I would imagine though, there's got to be some pawn shops in Las Vegas that are a little nervous right now.
I mean, I was noticing the other day. It was like, these guys that sell the watches. If they just tell their customer, hey, listen, here's the deal. I'll give you a lifetime warranty for service. Never take the thing to Rolex. I mean, how does a person know if they're buying a stolen watch? Because they can't go to Rolex. They could go to Rolex, take the chance, and say, hey, check this. And if it's stolen, does Rolex confiscate the watch?
Yeah, and the digital watch vault's shut down, so you can't register it there.
Yeah, that was.
Oh, boy,
but I
come
mean,
on.
there's the leads database, that the pawn shops and resellers use. So if somebody calls in a stolen watch with the serial number on it, it would get flagged if you try to go to a pawn shop, you try to go to some kind of reseller or something. They have access to that database. But I mean, if a watch dealer tells his customer, here, this is really easy, you're going to get this $8,000 below market price, but here's what you got to do: never take this thing to Rolex. Bring it to me. It's lifetime service if you bring it to me. I mean, it's like, how do you get caught having a stolen watch other than taking it for service?
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting that you bring it up because Moda, which is the Moda Watch Club, which is the biggest private Facebook group for buying, selling, and trading watches, they recently started a serial number check service. So if you buy and sell through Moda, one of the things that you can buy from Moda is a serial number check service, and it costs for Rolex is $250. And what they do is they will check. They have someone who works at a Rolex authorized dealer. They have access to Rolex basically,
Yeah.
and that person will run the serial number, and they will check for the service history. They'll check the warranty. They'll check the date of manufacturer, and they'll check if it's stolen, and they can report back to the person. So they have access to the stolen watch database. And it's funny, it's that service has been up and running for the past few weeks. And some of the reports from that service are quite interesting. They found that the number most checked watches are the green dial yellow gold Daytona, known as the John Mayer, and the Hulk, because those are the ones that are most likely to be counterfeited, right? Because people take a regular, they put a fake bezel or a fake green dial, and all of a sudden it's worth $5,000 more. Or you get a yellow gold Daytona with a black dial. You put a fake green one in, and it's worth $25,000.
Oh, so you would So if they call that serial number in, it doesn't get busted because somebody's actually taking it apart and says, "Oh, this is a fake." It's because that watch never came with that.
Exactly. So they have that's
Gotcha.
one of the things that they check. So that's what they call an unauthorized dial swap, or it's just flat out counterfeit dials. So those are the models that people are checking the most, and they're finding a lot. They're finding a lot of people with dial swaps. They're finding a lot, and they found 2 Patek Philippe's. They actually have the service for Rolex, AP, and Patek. They found 2 stolen Patek Philippe's that they were able to flag before one of their members bought it. So there is all kinds of counterfeit and stolen shit out there. A counterfeit more common than stolen. Stolen. I mean, how many people get their watch stolen on a daily basis?
Yeah.
Very few.
Paz has got a good point. Do you really think that a seasoned con man wouldn't have shit hit the fan plan just in case? I'll tell you one thing. If he did, he stashed it himself, because think about it. I mean, what could he do first of all, the guy basically was a transient, and I don't think a guy like that grew up with a lifelong friend that would put himself in that position. Because if you look and see, most of his crimes up until now, they're not like con man crimes. They're not like high-end theft. They're not confidence crimes. They're DUI, domestic abuse. They're fuck-up crimes, like a fuck-up, a born-to-lose fuck-up, okay? So a guy like that, do you think he's actually going to trust anybody? Okay, here's $800,000 worth of fucking watches or cash. Stash it for me, okay? Who's going to do that for him? So him, being the way he is, he if he did it himself, maybe he went to grandma's house and stashed it somewhere, in the attic or in her yard or something like that. Maybe, yeah, something like that. Because he did go, when he was under indictment, he did go to Texas for a little while. So if he did it himself. And from what I saw, I mean, I think in the original, before he got sentenced, the way that they were saying, they actually had the game that he was doing. I mean, he was actually giving watches to places as collateral for quick loans. So, once he knew he was going down, I mean, he had to have known once he was in a hole, he was never going to get out, and eventually he was going to get busted, right? The excuses were going to stop. We
So
literally,
knowing that, would you have some kind of when I'm get out of jail free card? Like after this
well,
is
you
all
got,
over
I mean,
with?
you got to think, and not this where they recommended, where the prosecution recommended 70 months. The paperwork before that, when he put in his guilty plea, right?
Mhm.
It did say in those charging documents that one of his things was that he went to watch dealers and used other people's watches as collateral for quick loans. Now, was he making those quick loans for his store? Obviously not, because he got shut down and he was 2 months. He was 2 months behind in the rent and the lease for the store. Okay, the furniture all got confiscated. He didn't even put that in a storage unit. The only thing he had in a storage unit was those stupid, all his merch stuff.
Yeah,
And
garbage. He had some
garbage,
leftover
right?
garbage. Yeah.
Right. So what did he need these? What did he need these quick loans for? I mean, he was obviously, he obviously knew that sooner or later, the watch dealers that were giving him these collateral loans on these watches, they were gonna, eventually know that those watches were other people's watches or stolen or whatever. So he went and got a bunch of quick cash. What did he do with it? I mean, I don't think he would, hey, Liz, hey, Darby, hold this for me. No, that's not going to happen. Nobody's going to take that risk. So he.
No, the only plausible thing I think he could have done was said, look, Grandma, here's a whole bunch of my personal things that
he doesn't even have to tell Grandma. He could just go to her house and put it in a
hide it
waterproof
in a
bucket
wallet.
and stash it.
Yeah, hide it in a closet somewhere. Just
Good news for everybody is I got to run. I'll see you guys later.
See you, Brian.
See you, Brian.
Fuck, it's just
good.
us.
I wanted to dump him anyway.
Now it's going to be ball washing central.
No, we're gonna go for another 15 minutes, guys. We'll go for another 15 minutes.
Hey, guess what?
Yeah,
I got my last payout for when I'm dissolve my partnership. I think I'm going to go on I've had enough of the pressure with you guys about he doesn't even own a watch. Oh, see, why do you associate with him? I think I'm going to start my watch journey. What do you think about that?
Uh-oh. How can you remove one of the last criticisms against you that he doesn't even own a watch. He doesn't even belong in our community.
I know the pressure is hard, but the thing that I got to figure out is this now that I want to begin this journey, do I do a one and done? Do I do a sport and a dress? Because I mean I could justify having a dress watch because I do have to, I believe it or not, I do have to be civil and dress nicely at least a dozen times a year. So solid gold dancer. See, this is going to be the hard part, man. Okay. Because I do have a flexible budget in mind, but yeah, I think I might have to, the pressure from you watch guys, man. I think I'm gonna do the golden path to my journey.
The golden path to Rolex.
Yeah. It's luxury time, baby.
Paddock Paul.
So I might, I think that I might have to decide whether it's going to be a.
Is it a foregone conclusion that it's going to be a Rolex? I mean,
a two and done, a one and done. Oh man, I don't know.
You should go on. What you should do is go on JJ's, the Watch Hangout, and talk to them first, and they'll actually probably give you some good advice, and you could start your journey.
Hey, what's up, Scratch?
Yeah.
I'm just
saying. Start your journey.
See, the thing that's hard. The thing that's hard is okay. So I don't know how many unboxings I've watched. I don't know how many acquisition stories, how many, how many theories on how to collect watches, and do we treat them as something that we wear and cherish? Do we treat them as a commodity? Do we treat them as an investment? So a lot of that stuff, it was kind of going in one ear and out the other because I was like kicking back. All right, let's see what can I get for drama out of this stuff. But I did listen a little bit, and I'm like, with his, being around for 3.5 years, and soaking in a lot of this stuff.
As much as I love Toyota Mo's gift to you, I mean,
I'm completely confused now that I'm like, put it this way, I'm committed enough to have a budget, but now it's like starting out on square one. I'm completely confused. Because I thought it was like, oh, SD43 or, the two-tone SD43, one and done, and it's fine. But then when you actually say, okay, I got a budget, then it's like, well, wait a minute.
Now people are going to ask you what your budget is. They're going to pressure you. Here's what I would say. Don't make any decisions for at least 60 days. And if that means like, hey, people like throwing advice at you from all directions and it gets a little confusing and overwhelming for 2 months, so be it, because you'll work through the process. You have to go on your own path.
Uncle Squish is popping his cherry, baby. But I know one thing. I do have a starting point. No fucking, I don't want to be
Tutors.
a brigade man.
Oh, okay.
No, I mean, see, that's the thing too. Now, do I do a tutor to utilitarian watch for every day? Then do I go to a sport model? Is a two-tone considered? All this stuff that I've listened to you guys over the last 3 years, you would think that it's like, okay, let's try this journey.
The thing is, you have absorbed a hell of a lot of information. It's hard.
And I'm
to
more
not
confused
do.
than ever. I'm more confused than ever.
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm very impressionable, OC. I'm very impressionable.
You're easily manipulated. You're easily radicalized, brainwashed.
I don't want to get a tap on the shoulder, man.
But yeah, I think you've probably been exposed to.
Fucking how hard it's going to be. Where do I unbox this when I get my first one and done, two and done, or 3-piece meal?
Well, you have people competing to have.
What kind of watch roll do I buy? What kind of box do I buy? Fuck, man, this is already starting out with speed bumps, man.
Yeah. Do I buy a watch winder? It's over. If you actually go down this rabbit hole, well, first of all, your critics will hate you because
I got a head start on that.
Yeah, actually, that might be good. You might just drive them absolutely bonkers.
I just got to make sure that I don't turn it into, because I turn anything that I'm. This is not for collect. This is
an obsession.
This will be a how could I say it? Like a 60-year-old lifetime achievement reward for myself.
You're 60?
Yeah, I turned 60 this year. Yeah.
Wow, congrats.
Thanks. Yeah, believe it or not.
Els says, despite
can you believe a 60-year-old could be this immature?
Get AC3's Dream Brigade.
Eldest, no thank you. I think I'll have a hard enough time just navigating where I'm going to go seek advice. I don't.
AC3 show used to be a place where you'd actually really get good advice, but now you can do that on the Watch Hangout, or you could get Kelso comes on this panel and. You can get some good advice from him. A lot of great Rolex people in the chat.
Listen, nothing against Kelso, but I tend not to get watch advice from a guy that wears female scarves. I'm not. Sorry. Sorry.
Kelso.
I mean,
Kelso's the best. If you want Paddock.
Yeah, they took a nice picture, him and Mark Goldberg by Marco. He's my Marco. Marco will be a source of information for sure. But I mean, it's like, I don't know what to say. The guy's a good-looking guy, but I mean, he emasculates himself by putting a silk scarf on it and having Twinkle Toes standing next to him. Mark Goldberg taking can I say it? The gayest picture I ever seen. It was like they were like, hey, like they were walking down the yellow brick road. It was like the Wizard of Oz pose, but they seemed to be having fun, so that was nice. But I think.
Kelso's the best. I love him.
I will have to try to get the.
Actually, Lolex is someone who might be able to give you, because he's bought.
There you go, masculine man. Yes, yes, that's what I'm talking about. A guy like
Lolex. Are you in the chat? Jump on the. You need to, of anybody that could give good advice to you is probably Lolex.
I want to be like Paz is a one and done watch guy, so that works out good. Paz is a one and does.
I don't know. What this person is.
Has Oshino O'Malley influenced your watch journey? Probably, man. Who knows? Maybe I'll start drinking too.
We've gone through this entire 2-hour show got 0 super chats, 0 new memberships. I mean, it's hard. YouTube's hard, guys.
Oh, you know what? My membership expired. Fuck.
Listen, I do a 2-hour show. I bring you breaking news that no one else covers. The exclusive on Anthony Ferrer's pleading with the court He's begging the court for forgiveness and leniency. We got 0 super chats. We have 0.
Jesus
new
Christ,
membership.
what did somebody send
Jeez.
out the bat signal? There he is, Marco Ferrante, hometown boy.
What have I missed? You missed 2 hours of. Actually, it was kind of heart wrenching, that part where his adopted parents, I don't know, foster parents, whatever you call them, and his
What are we talking
grandmother
about? The tugger again?
chimed in. Well,
Marco,
no,
breaking news. Uncle Squishy Curly is gonna start his watch journey. I'm announcing it today on the OC show. The peer pressure, I can't take the peer pressure anymore, Marco. I cannot stand one more guy telling me, what are you doing here? You don't even own a watch. Get out. You're not part of our, you'll never be accepted.
Yeah.
What
Side
else do I
question
get?
is,
What else?
even if you did buy a watch, would you still not be accepted?
Probably. That'd be my luck, you know? I mean, and by the way, I wouldn't feel bad about your incident that you had with having to pay for 2 tires. I got bum rushed by plumbing bill today. Man, it was ugly.
Yeah, a big one.
All right, it started out with
Just tell us about it. We got time to kill. Go for it.
It was big. Okay, so the problem is I had, these kind of customer service orientated plumber friends of mine. Okay, they had a really simple task. Okay, we had one toilet that was not a fancy toilet with the heated seat, the Totos, right? So I was like, okay, it's a guest bathroom. I'd like to at least make it match what we got because the other toilets are ADA height. They're a little higher. So I got a nicer style toilet. I was like, it's when we remodeled the bathroom, that was one thing I reused was the toilet because at that time it was really nice. And I was like, just come over, picked it out. They came over, and then we had a little bit of a problem because the flange that was that the toilet was bolted to one of the retaining, slots in the thing were broken. I don't know, it's not a new, it wasn't a real new construction. So it was cast iron. It wasn't PVC. So they said they had to replace that. They would come back the next day with a new flange. One guy had to go below and one guy had to do above, and then they replaced it with a PVC. In the meantime, my wife makes them both a cup of coffee. She comes walking out of the bathroom 15 minutes later, and she says, since these guys are here, why don't we just replace all the hardware in the bathroom? I was like, oh, what do you mean? Like, I could put in, the towel hangers and a little glass shelf for knickknacks. And she goes, no. The hardware. I go, you mean the faucets and stuff? She goes, yeah. So now I got to sit there and go through their Kohler online thing for their supply house. And by the time they were done, the guy making the recommendations, the next day when they came, I was just supposed to get, a bill. I was expecting a bill under $1,000 for the toilet install and the flange.
Right.
And by the time these guys walked out today, just the fixtures alone were $3,800.
Oh, what?
Yeah. Yeah, they did 2 shower heads. They did the shower mixer. It happens to have a bathtub too, so they had a new faucet for the bathtub. And then since you change the fixtures, you got to change all the towel holders and the soap dishes and stuff. So yeah, it was like almost 5 G's. And I wanted to strangle my buddy. I was like, don't you ever fucking talk to my wife when she comes in with coffee again. So that was it. Yeah. And it was totally unnecessary because even though I reused when we remodeled that bathroom, even though I reused the toilet, all the fixtures, everything were like brand new. I mean, not the bathroom hardly gets used, but whatever. It was it is what it is. I got to replace all the trims for the recessed lighting now, and she wants a new medicine cabinet, so I could do that myself. But you know how it is, man.
Yeah, it's the expenses never stop. By the way, thank you to Paz for the $10 highlighted comment. Really appreciate that. And Scratchy says it's $3 Australian. That's a flamingo blue highlighted comment. Thanks, OC and Curly, for the show. And don't forget about Brian the Pipe. for jumping on as well. You're an SD43 man.
I know. You know
Curly.
what? That's what I thought. But like I said, it's so much different when. It's so much different when. Hey, look at I'm on the fucking golden path to to a luxury watch. The peer pressure was too much. But I always thought that. But now I got my options open. I mean, do I do a one and done would be hard for me. I don't think I'd be satisfied with a one and done.
Plumbing solutions in a relaxed format. Skip intro, $5 super chat. How many gallons per flush, Curly?
That you know what? It's an American standard, and believe it or not, it'll take a half a bucket of golf. It'll flush a half a bucket of golf balls. So I'm thinking it's got the high efficiency flush module or whatever on it. So I think it's 2.5 gallons. We don't conserve water. We don't conserve water like they do in Europe.
Marco Ferrante jumping in with some watch. Let's see, he's trying to compress your 2-month journey of research and knowledge into one comment, and it's not going to work. Just get one nice Rolex, a Submariner, a GMT Master 2, an Explorer, or a Datejust. It doesn't matter. You don't need anything else other than one. I think some people might disagree with that.
You know what Marco? You know what the thing is I could justify buying a dress watch and a sport watch because, like I said, there's minimum a dozen times where I got to get dudded up. But if I choose to want to go with a dress watch, it's going to have to be rectangular. That's the problem I got. I love rectangular watches. I've always loved that the Cellini white gold prints, but it doesn't have to be that. So I don't know. Look, this is like starting any other kind of hobby I've ever had. Whether it's high-end shotguns or high-end fishing reels and poles or whatever. The start is always the hardest part, and then controlling yourself is the next hard part. No different than when I was in the drag racing or snowmobiles or whatever. But yeah, I figured I got a little bit of disposable money. Why not dip my toe into the
watch world?
Yeah, man. I want to be in the club, OC. I want to be in the club.
Private club. You want an invitation to the private club?
There you go. I already got the pin, so you can't take the pin away from me. I've already been initiated, I think. So
over 50 upvotes. You got to hand it. Listen, the audience is. I mean, I don't have an audience as big as yours, but it's a pretty damn high quality audience, if I do say so myself. Over 50 likes on this 2-hour live stream. The topic for today has been Anthony Fair, aka Timepiece Gentleman, has filed with the court begging for leniency, begging for forgiveness. We went through the whole thing. If you're just tuning in right now, go back to the beginning and catch it from scratch. I want to thank everybody for hopping on the panel, Curly and Brian the Pipe, everybody in the chat for watching. I want to thank Skip. Yeah, I want to thank Skip Intro. I want to thank Scratchy and Paz for the super chats. Here's what I'm going to do. The Watch Hangout has a show that's supposedly starting now. If the Watch Hangout people are watching, guys, fire up your stream. You can't just, you're late. Fire it up so I can send people over. So,
I want to wish a speedy recovery to the global watch news reporter #1, Doc's report. I think he had a hernia operation.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, there's some rumors running around that he got COVID, but I know one thing for sure: if he's not around, I know that he has scheduled hernia surgery. I had one of those. I mean, modern technology and modern medicine, I'm sure they do it a lot differently, but 70-year-old guy, he always seems to be very anxious when he does some kind of medical procedure. So speedy recovery to the #1 narcissist in the global watch community.
Yep.
He's a harmless guy. That's it. I don't know what else. We get breaking news, man. Breaking news was TPG is got a lot of family members that are concerned about him. Heartfelt letters Born to
Yep.
Lose tattoo. I think he deserves that when he goes to Fed lockup.
Is
He's
that,
gonna.
is that what it was? Born to Lose? I thought it was, what was it again?
Oh,
Is that
dude,
what it
his
said?
story. I mean, when you read that story, it's like Born to Lose. I mean, giving up when both twins given up by a young single mom, taken in by by a little bit older parents, and then losing his brother. They were both adrenaline junkies. I mean, wouldn't be bad to incorporate these letters that they wrote to his. I think it's still up too. The origins of TPG kind of goes through his whole. Excuse me, Jesus Christ. He kind of goes through his life story. It actually is pretty sad. I don't see it. A lot of people thought it was a rag to riches type thing. I think he was forced. Oh shit!
Yeah, we're doing stream inception.
JJ
Look at
got a
this.
10, man. Shout out to Robert Woods for letting one boomer taking care of another, man. I was able to change my background. I kind of like it. In StreamYard,
Nice.
you do it right through StreamYard. It's pretty.
By the way,
easy.
head on over to, if you head on over to the Watch Hangout, please type in a comment in the chat. Let them know that OC and Curly or Curlock. Let them know that Curlock sent you over.
Oh, easy. You sure you want the blowback? By if we do
Sure,
Curlock,
yeah.
we have to have a reason for doing Curlock. I mean,
Hey,
people are abandoning ship right and left because of this Curlock thing.
We got McAllen Drinker in the chat, one of my homies from New Jersey. Upvoted. I'll listen to the replay tonight. Yeah, head on over to the Hangout. I'm going to be doing a colony tonight too after the Watch Hangout. So stay tuned for that. We got lots of great entertainment for you
What
tonight.
kind of colony are you? Are you gonna is Buckley gonna do a little Buckley Unleashed segment, or is it all straight up private club stuff?
We'll see.
A little bit of everything. Variety show. Are you getting into variety show business, OC?
It's going to be colony potluck. All topics are on the table. So we'll see what
Potluck. I
happens.
like that. Colony
Yeah.
potluck. I like that.
Colony potluck.
All right.
Thank you, McAllen.
See OC. See everybody in the chat.
See you later,
Take it
guys.
easy,
We're gonna see you later. Upvote the stream on the way out. I'm gonna drop the link over to the Watch Hangout a couple more times here. Head on over there. Tell them that OC sent you. Please upvote the live stream on the way out. Thanks for tuning in, guys. And we'll catch you on the next one. Peace out. Have a great night. Head on over to Watch Hangout. Maybe I'll pop on, maybe Curly and I'll hop on the panel over there. Everybody should hop on the panel. Everyone hop on the panel over there, and let's have fun tonight. Have a great night, everybody. Peace out.